So recently Sony had their state of play and a good amount of information was released on Final Fantasy VII Remake. And boy, do we need to jump into this one. So Final Fantasy VII Remake is getting a PS5 update called Intergrade. This update increases graphical fidelity overall and we'll be seeing improved textures, lighting, and backdrops. And the backdrops needed to be improved desperately, as on PS4 it just looks like a static background and, well, it just looks terrible. It kind of brings down the whole atmosphere of the game in certain areas. A very welcome improvement if you ask me. The PS5 update will also have a performance mode option that will keep the game in action running at 60 frames per second. And a photo mode that will allow you to capture some awesome moments if you so choose. Perhaps the biggest announcement to come along with this update is DLC in the form of an episode featuring our favorite ninja girl, Yuffie. I would say this was a smart way to introduce Yuffie instead of giving her a whole introduction in Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. For the remake, I would assume her introduction probably would have had a whole flashy, dramatic, and dynamic cutscene featuring our own little boss battle and another cutscene right after. With this DLC episode, she's going to be introduced to old and new players so the developers don't have to waste time and resources creating it in Part 2. Her introduction was short in the original, but here I would have imagined it probably would have been a bit more in the remake. This new episode is also going to be introducing a good number of new characters. I'm curious to see what they bring to the table, so it looks like this is going to be an episode or DLC that you're definitely going to need to play. And everyone seems to be having a battle royale of some type these days, and it looks like Final Fantasy VII is no different. Also announced was Final Fantasy VII The First Soldier. This battle royale game takes place before the events of 7 Remake, and of course it's a battle royale. You have to drop in and take out the opposing teams. You'll be able to use guns and magic, and it also seems to have some melee combat as well. One of the examples they used for magic showed off protecting the player from incoming damage. You know, I'm willing to give this a shot as long as it's not completely riddled in microtransactions, but it's probably going to be free, so, you know, no harm in giving it a try at least once or twice maybe. We also got another mobile game called Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis that will feature important story events from the Final Fantasy VII timeline. This includes the beginning of Final Fantasy VII and Crisis Core. This is interesting. I would rather them make a remaster of Crisis Core that was originally released on PSP. I mean, that could still happen, but it seems that this is what we're getting for the events of Crisis Core. Come on, Square Enix, not like this. I would gladly give you my money for a proper remaster of Crisis Core. Maybe I'm assuming too much or reading too much into this. Who knows? Only time will tell. So for me, I guess the biggest things I'm excited for is the graphical update for PS5. The game looks even better than it already did on PS4. Plus, there's going to be a 60 frames per second mode, and I'm definitely going to be enjoying that, although I don't have a PS5 at the moment. Improving the backdrops, or the backgrounds rather, will definitely be a welcome change, because the game got completely outed for the backgrounds being very lackluster. As far as the new episode goes with Yuffie, that's, as I said before, is a very smart choice. I definitely wouldn't mind playing as Yuffie and the new characters that are bringing into this episode. I wonder how long it's gonna be. Also, with the other characters joining Yuffie's little adventure here, how will they play? What kind of characters will it be? Will they impact the rest of Final Fantasy VII Remake? Probably yes, and I can't wait to see what else they do. It's gonna be interesting because we all know that Final Fantasy VII Remake really deviated from the norm, especially with that ending. So it opens this entire remake world to new possibilities and new outcomes, and well, who knows how far they're gonna take it. So all in all, guys, I'm pretty excited for this news of Final Fantasy VII Remake. I think now is the time for me to consider getting a PS5 at this point. But speaking of which, where's the PC version? I would have thought the PC version would be announced around this time, but apparently not so much. Maybe they're waiting to release this Intergrade chapter or update and then release it all in one package on multiple platforms later down the line. Wouldn't be surprised coming from Square Enix. We're getting this in June, so maybe around the holiday season we'll get that all in one package. Or maybe in 2022, I have no idea. Let me know what you guys think of this huge update for Final Fantasy VII Remake. Are you you excited? Do you care? Maybe it's just not what you expected it to be. Yuffie has got to have caught you off guard. Let me know your thoughts about that. And about the other games releasing, the mobile games of Ever Crisis and the Battle Royale game. That should be interesting to waste some time here and there. That's it for now, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.